Alrighty! You clicked on this video because you want to get faster. I understand. I know I certainly did. 2 years ago I was slow. Now I'm fast. I have a 4.67 second 40-yard dash. And people always asking me, how'd you get fast? Oh my god, you're rapid now. What the hell? What happened? So I'm literally going to tell you everything that I did to get fast. And one thing that you need to know is that speed is the tide that lifts all ships. When you get faster, and this certainly happened for me, I got more jacked, I got stronger, my agility got better, I got better at my sport, my testosterone went up, all these things, my endurance got better, my lifts went up, all this. Sprinting is the tide that lifts all ships. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. And when you get faster, you're gonna have these crazy improvements as well, and I can't wait. So in this video, I'm gonna give you everything that you need to know to get fast. Number one, you've gotta sprint 2 to 3 times per week. Listen, I've been sprinting every single week since January 2024. That's over a year and a half of sprinting every single week, and this brutal consistency has led to me getting faster. And in fact, it's the number one thing I point my speed to. Sprinting, it's all about consistency. You have to show up week after week after week. Listen, the amount of work that you do in a single week doesn't even have to be that high. A sprint session probably takes about half an hour. If you do 2 of those, that's an hour. An hour is such a small portion of your week. But if you add that together for weeks on end, for years, you're gonna get fast as hell. So I'd just like to mention that consistency, so important. You can listen to everything in this video, but if you're not consistent to it, you're not going to get fast. So anyways, sprinting 2 to 3 times per week is so important. It's the law of specificity. If you want to get better at something, you have to do that thing more often. What would a painter do if they wanted to get better at painting? They would paint. So why are so many of you going out and trying to get fast, doing your box jumps, doing your squats, but not even sprinting? Makes no sense. You're not going to get fast if you don't sprint. So go out and sprint. Pick 100 meters to 200 meters of distance per session. So that could be 3 40-meter sprints, or it could be 2 60-meter sprints. Just go out, get in your 100 meters to 200 meters. Also, it has to be at maximum intent. Otherwise, you won't stimulate the CNS enough to get adaptations to get faster. And the other thing is that sprints self-intensify. So if you have that max intent, and as you get better and better at sprinting, the sprints themselves will become more and more intense and serve to continue overloading your body and spurring on adaptations that make you sprint faster. So you need to be sprinting at max intent, 100 to 200 meters per session, 2 to 3 times per week. Do that, you're gonna get fast. Some other things you need to take into account. Obviously we talked about the intent and how important that is, but the way you're gonna have intent is you're gonna warm up really well. You're gonna make sure that you're fresh and not injured or sore or anything. Just make sure you're feeling really good, having had a good night's sleep, etc. You're gonna rest in between sets. This is a big problem I see in a lot of athletes, is that they want to just go after sprint, and just grind, like that Kobe Bryant sort of mindset. But you need to leave at least 1 minute per 10 meters sprinted in between sets so that you can push intent and get faster. Okay, sprinting is less about that grinding mindset and more about quality. It's all about quality. And if you mix the quality and the consistency, boom, you get fast, you become someone like me. So that was such an arrogant comment. But I'm just trying to say, you know, if you want to get fast, that's the kind of thing you've got to be doing. You also need to time your sprints, if possible. Time your sprints so that you can have that max intent and have a number to try beat. You know, if you ran a 4.8 second 40-yard dash, you'd be trying to beat that every time, and that would push your body to have intent. Also, you could just race other people to have that intent. If you're racing someone, you're obviously going to sprint as fast as you can, especially if their abilities are similar to yours. So it's all about intent and just picking the right distances and being consistent with it. If you do all that, you will get faster. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is plyometrics. Now, this isn't going to be any regular plyometrics, your box jumps or whatever. In fact, box jumps are the worst exercise you could do to get faster. Sprinting has insanely high eccentric forces, so eccentric is like on the way down, Think about a squat. When you squat down, that's eccentric forces. Sprinting has crazy eccentric forces that you have to be able to overcome. When you do a box jump, you literally minimize the eccentric forces because you're landing onto a box, which just reduces the vertical eccentric forces. So you don't improve, and that's not going to carry over to you jumping high and sprinting fast. So don't do box jumps. But the plyometrics that you need to be focusing on is horizontal plyometrics. You need to be able to develop more horizontal power. Horizontal power is correlated with acceleration speed, and acceleration is the easiest part of the race to develop. Okay, acceleration is also one of the most important aspects of speed for athletes to develop. You know, if you play rugby or football, likelihood is you never really sprint above 20 meters, and that is acceleration, my friend. Acceleration is all about horizontal power. The more horizontal power you can produce, the better you'll be at acceleration. The best thing for improving horizontal power is horizontal plyometrics. So that's things like broad jumps, triple broad jumps. Now, broad jumps are really good in terms of that really early acceleration, that push out the blocks. If you get your broad jump longer, you are going to sprint faster. There's a correlation, it's been shown in studies to highly correlate with sprint speed over, I believe it's 30 meters. So broad jumps, really important. Now, better than broad jumps would be the triple broad jump, because the triple broad jump, you have eccentric forces and it's horizontal based. The triple broad jump is such a good exercise, and if you can get that distance further and further, man oh man, you are going to get better acceleration, and that's going to be massive for your speed. So what have we got so far? You are going to sprint 2 to 3 times per week. You're going to pick a distance and get into that 100 to 200 meters range total distance per session, and you're going to push intent. And then in terms of the horizontal plyometrics, you're also going to do broad jumps and triple broad jumps. In terms of goals, I would say a 30 feet triple broad jump would be amazing, and then a 10 feet like broad jump would be amazing. And the way you're going to get to that is just by doing them 2 times a week. Do them after your sprints, boom, really easy. From that, literally just boom, doing those 2, you're pretty much mostly there in terms of speed. Now, the only other thing I could really talk to you about is strength training. Just simply get really strong in the weight room, and that will massively help you. You know, getting strong in the compound lifts. Compound lifts are the best bang for your buck exercises, and the best exercises. I hate the flipping science-based stuff like do the machine exercises. No, we train with a barbell. Okay, we do squats, we do RDLs, we do calf raises. Calf raises are actually really important because when you do calf raises, you basically increase the cross-sectional area of the Achilles tendon, so it becomes a stiffer and more useful tendon, which allows you to sprint faster. Little known tip there, but do like power cleans for that power and racer force development. That would be massive. If you can get your power clean up, that will help you massively. Then do your squats, just general force production. The more force you can produce, the faster you're going to be in terms of acceleration. So that the squat will probably correlate with your early acceleration speed. Then so will the power clean. Then you're going to do RDLs or Nordics for that posterior chain. Yeah, basically the optimal exercise order or the optimal day would be you start off with an explosive activity, you know, sprints or plyometrics. Then you'd go into something like power cleans or hang cleans or snatches. Then you go into your main quad movements, so you do like squats or front squats or leg press, whatever. Then you'd go into posterior chain, so Nordics or RDLs, and then you finish with cards. And that would be perfect for strength. Now, I've got videos where I go a lot more in depth on strength, but to be honest, today I just thought I wanted to grill in the basics, like the sprints and plyometrics, because those are the 2 most important things. And if you add on to getting strong and becoming a freak athlete in the weight room to that, you're going to get fast. Basically, in terms of strength, just become an output monster. Get a crazy high clean, get a crazy high squat, and sprint and do the horizontal plyometrics at the same time as that. Boom, that is the formula to getting super fast. So apply that and you will get fast. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. This one was a bit brief, but cheers.